Hey everyone, so in this scene there's a workers' athletic competition and then after that a public speaking rally. So this athletic competition may symbolize how youthful energy and constant motion are going to waste when these workers could be in the workforce but they're all unemployed. It may be an attempt to resist capitalism through an unconventional use of strength and is also a good example of the movement aesthetic. This scene is a direct contrast between the suicide and the opening scene, which can be seen as sort of an escape from politics. But in this scene, the drive, motion, and energy represented by the sporting competition shows how the workers' movement picked up. So they're also chanting about solidarity, and throughout the film, we've noticed that the movement has always been chaotic and disjointed, especially in the opening scene where everyone is like going in different directions on their bikes. But here we see the paddlers on the river in unison and also the motorcyclers moving together, which shows the direct relation between the chanting about solidarity. Then, once the athletic competition is over, there's communist songs about oppression being sung to the sporting event crowd. We know this because while the film is in black and white, they say that their megaphones are red, and we can assume the flag shown might have been the communist flag as well, but we don't know without colors, so we can just assume. This was also the last serious communist film in Weimar Germany. It was not received very well even by the Communist Party because it was seen as too radical, and it was banned twice for seeming to be too revolutionary. And some relevant quotes that I got from this chanting was, "Whose street is this street? Whose world is this world? You bought boats from the pennies you saved, and you saved the bus fare by starving. Learn to win." So these quotes just kind of show what life was like for the unemployed workers right now. And that shows that this is coming from their perspective, the working class. From the scene, you can tell there's barely any editing. Also, this whole movie was composed of volunteers. So now talking about some film elements, it looks like they're marching through the town square. And you can tell that the onlookers are a little bit confused about what's going on, so maybe this was an unplanned march, or at least it wasn't disclosed to the public. Looking at the angles, it seems that they repeatedly zoom in on the bikers, and you can tell that they're in a race because of the numbers on their bikes. You also see the rowers' legs, and there's a lot of pans out to the swimmers competing pretty vigorously. And there's also some suspenseful music that goes along with this. And then at the end, there's zeal, which means finish line, and there's some timers taking their time. And then once we go into the public speaking rally, there's a ritual before everyone starts talking. The next speech that comes up is someone giving a speech about rent and their landlord. But before that, there's almost like a line dance with instruments like accordion and banjo. And just based off the crowd, everyone seems to be young, and you can also tell that this is cinematic realism because it seems very organic. There's not a lot of elaborate technique, and most of the dialogue in this scene is chanting and whistling with the suspenseful music in the background. Talking a little bit about how the structure builds up some tension, while it seems to be pretty random, the events go in the order of the suicide, then Annie and Fritz moving to the homeless garden camp, which is very tranquil, and then it transitions to this scene where they do this sports competition with quick, striking scenes and choppy editing, and also the speed and desperation which you can see through the pedaling and the paddling and the fast swimming shows the need for action. And then it might also symbolize the hopelessness of the job search for the proletariat. And This film, you could say it's a puzzling and blatant representation of visuals. You can probably watch this movie a couple times and get a couple of new ideas from watching it each time. But overall, while Annie is the main protagonist and her boyfriend, they offer some type of consistency throughout the film with the storyline. The main emphasis is on the strength of the collective, and I think that's what makes this film so politically impactful. There's not a lot of scenes with just one or two people, and the most memorable scenes always involve a large crowd. So I think that what the director was trying to do with this film was emphasize the strength of the collective and inspire political change and maybe even revolution.